My name is Yuliya Yarmak. I am from Grodno, and I am representing Grodno State University by Yanka Kupala. I am a senior lecturer at the Department of Tourism and Cultural Heritage. And to your attention, I would like to present my topic, Belarusian Jews on the political arena in the Jewish Pale of Settlement, late 19th, early 20th century. The end of the 19th, the beginning of the 20th century became an important stage in the social and political life in Belarus. The transformation of the traditional way of life of Belarusian Jewry was occurred, and gender-related areas of activity have changed. The relevance of the topic is explained by reasons of both a scientific and socio-political nature. It allows us to take a fresh look at events, having studied the issue through the prism of gender perception. Particularly growing interest in the topic in connection with global trends associated with the growing influence of the women in the political and economic spheres. Introduction to the scientific circulation, new archival sources increase the scientific significance of their work. The sources which were used are the documents from the funds. You can see the numbers of funds which were used for preparing this work. And on the picture, you can see those who are not from Belarus. I explained that this is the building of National Historical Archive of Belarus is in Minsk. There are a lot of archival documents. Some of them are offerable for the visitors, but there are a lot of boxes which are still closed for the scientific using, and this archive offers a lot of opportunities to develop scientific history in future. National Historical Archive of Belarus in Grodno, this is the building of it. It is situated in Grodno in the street Gospodarchia, and these kind of funds were used during the preparation of this work. The funds which I mentioned, cases of the gendarmerie and changes of residence belonging to political parties, storage and distribution of illegal and anti-governmental literature. Also, female memoirs were used as additional sources of the subject. There were used memoirs of Sara Gurevich. This is a woman from Mogilov province's small city Cherikov, and she was living in the end of the 19th and the first half of 20th century, and in her memories she showed everyday life of a simple Jewish woman. And another memories which were used maybe for Western society, these memories are closer. Poa Rakovsky. This woman was born in Białystok in the late 19th century. Białystok was a part of Belarus, as it is possible to say such a word. When we are speaking about this topic, we should mention Belarusian historians who describe some Jewish political movements. Among them are Iofa, Yatsevich, Bich, Tomashevich, Shuka, Stetsevich. But the focus of their research attention is on the actual political movements, but they don't take into their attention the gender component of it. One of the political movements that arose in the second half of the 17th century was populism, Narodnik. And we should mention, of course, Gesia Gelfman. She was born in Mozyr, and her political views were formed under the influence of the work Chernyshevsky, the novel What to Do. From the 17th from the 17th years of the 19th century, she take participation in these populism movements and became a member of the party Народная Воля. A significant influence on the minds of the Jewish masses had the pogroms of the 80s of the 19th century. One of the consequences of the pogroms was the disengagement of people from those who went through acculturation into Russian society. Among them, there were many who were baptized, and these, for whom Jewishness became the main priority in life. Orthodox Jews, contrary to social changes, sought to preserve the traditional way. Radically inclined circles saw in the political struggle a way to solve the notorious Jewish question. For them, it was decided either through the creation of its own Jewish state in the historical homeland Zionists, or through the idea of national cultural autonomy in Russia. The image Palestinophilic movement Zionism was particularly active in the northwestern provinces in the Russian Empire. Provincial gendarmerie administration monitored the activities of Zionist circles and participants in these movements. Information on the work of the Zionist circle for 1898 till 1900 was accumulated in the National Historical Archive in Belarus in Minsk, in fund office of the Minsk governor. The names of the participants of the Polotsk Zionist circles were also known, so we should understand that the majority circles were under the control of Russian gendarmerie administration. I have mentioned before poor Rakovskaya and her memories, my life as a radical Jewish woman. Well, what about her points of view to the political problems which existed on the territory of western part of Russian Empire? In her memories, she called herself a radical Jewish woman, advocated the education of women of the Jewish faith, urged them to take fate into their own hands and fight for rights. We can say that poor Rakovsky, it was like an ancestor or forerunner of feminists, and she was convinced that if women gain political influence, they can take the political influence if they unite and jointly lobby their interests. When we are speaking about Zionists, we should say that, for example, Zionists in Grodno provinces in 1910-1911, there were 23 people. Among them, there were 7. Some of them were named. Hanna Polonetskaya, Sorka and Golda Lapidus, Fega Marcus, Yenta Ellen, and 2 other girls which not named in the document. These women were united to Philistine origin youth. The majority did not exceed 25 years of age. The higher the educational level, more actively a woman manifests herself in the political sphere. These sentences also demonstrates the funds from archive of Minsk. And it confirms this statement. Most of the women who were involved in political movement had professional medical education: midwives, dentists, pharmacists. With the growth of the labor movement, the creation of the most numerous Jewish party, the Bund, was associated with the active participation of Jewish women. The storage and distribution of legal literature, the maintenance of safe houses, campaigning in factories, secret printing houses, participation in congresses, rallies, strikes, these are the main directions of their activities. Members of the Bund were women of various social backgrounds, including those belonging to privileged classes. And as example of this statement is, for example, Ita Repaport, a hereditary honorable citizen, was detained in the Vitebsk prison for belonging to the Bund, and then was sent to the Vologda province for 2 years under the public supervision of the police. Among the members of the Bund, there were many representatives of the intelligentsia, for example, teachers. Here you can see the photos of a special card to the people who belong to the organization Bund. Members of the Bund were women, as I have said, of various social backgrounds. For example, Leoznyanskaya Sora, a 21-year-old teacher from the city of Velish, she was the daughter of a merchant, was arrested for belonging to the Bund. A teacher from Babrusk, Chaya Shapira, was under police surveillance for contract with the Bund. A report of the Bobruisk police master was compiled for a pharmacy assistant Kantorovich, informing that the bourgeoisie indicated was a member of the Bund party and was involved in organizing workers' strikes. Distribution of leaflets in which women actively participated took place not only at work and meetings. During the play based on the play Maxim Gorky at the bottom, the Bund's proclamations were scattered in the Bobruisk theater. Rivka Gurevich from Mogilev was brought in for distributing proclamation in Novozybkovskaya synagogue. Women raised funds for members of the labor movement and those arrested. Among them was dentist Sofia Hanelis, who raised money to transfer it to needy members of the labor movement in Vitebsk. One moment, please. The Bund attracted women with secretary skills to carry out their professional duties during party congresses. Lieutenant Colonel Herben von Greifenfels, during the campaign of the liquidation of the Grodno organization Bund on the 9th October 1910, in his report wrote, 3 letters from the city woman Chaya Kashevnik were found with the signature Rebecca, in which she asked the Grodno organization, the Bund, nominated her as a stenographer at the upcoming Congress of the Russian Social Democratic Labour Party abroad, and that she was bothering to get as a stenographer at the 8th Bund conference. Jewish women were involved in the Bund in the practical implementation of the process of political communication. For example, Chaya Goldray, an employee of the Grodno tobacco factory, conducted party correspondence with Warsaw. Rebecca Pulska, a worker on Lapin typography, maintained correspondence with a member of the Zhytomyr organization of Bund. One of the most important members of the social democratic movement was Maria Assan. She was born in the family of railway employee Moses Bertinsky. For her education, Mary was a nurse. She joined the revolutionary movement in the early 90s years of the 18th century and subsequently continued her activities outside the Belarusian provinces. Another active participant in the political movement was Vera Slutskaya. Her real name was Berta. She was a dentist. She was born in Minsk, and I have found about her a document in our Grodno archive, the manuscript of paper, which dates 1898, in which the document reports that a stage was carried out in the apartment of midwife Perla Gordon in Grodno. Manuscripts on 5 pages of the large format development of the revolutionary movement in Russia. A notebook with the beginning of the same article and a brochure entitled The War of the Polish Socialist Party Against of the Jewish Workers' Union. A tradesman, Berta Slutskaya, has a letter with encrypted notes. Unfortunately, the life of this woman ended very early, and it was dramatic. Of course, Malka Lifshitz, better known for the surname of her second husband, Frumkina. She was from Minsk, and she came from a wealthy Enlightenment merchant family. She got home Jewish education and then entered the Minsk Girls' Gymnasium. The political views of Malka were formed during her life in Minsk, and in 1901 she joined the Bund, where she was engaged in propaganda work and later became a member of the Central Committee of the Bund. I find the document about her activity in Minsk, and it is really interesting. Of course, Maria Vilbushevich, she was born in educated family in the village Lesosno near Grodno. She take participation in Minsk conference of Russian Zionists. Sarah Gurevich from Chernikov, Mogilev provinces give us opportunity to understand why some Jewish women take participation in political movement. She was written, and there are gatherings in the evenings, although in truth I didn't understand much when I read Marx or the political articles. But this mystery attracted. They dispersed one at a time, night, had weather, bad weather often, as it happened in winter. And a little bit statistic. Grodno Provincial Gender Department in Brest, you see, there were 187 people, among them 15 women of Jewish faith, 8%. Police Department and correspondence with the head of the Grodno Provincial Gender Department, again 456 people, 26 women, 5.5%. That was the statistic. I take and count it in small part of the Belarus, but I think it will be the same on the whole territory of Belarus. We should understand that some Jewish women take participation in political movements, but they don't have real interest in the politics, but they want to do some business. For example, Ida Bogrodovskaya, vice tradesman, offers her services as a secret employee, does not deserve trust, and is engaged in extorting money. The same was with Pelta Kletskin and Sura Dochkin. They had acquaintance only exclusively with professional thieves, and nobody have had any acquaintance with political movements, but they showed themselves when police came as a political activists. The development of capitalist relations, the expansion of rights and freedom, and as a consequence, the emancipation and assimilation of Jewish women contributed to an increase in female activity on the political arena of Belarus. According to the documents, in the social-political sphere, they played a secondary role as assistants to male leaders who acted as leaders and innovators. Jewish women were involved in simple forms of political work, namely they worked as stenographers, acted as owners of safe houses, distributors of political literature. These two photos demonstrate for us the big choral synagogue in Grodno 15, maybe even 20 years ago. And this picture is showed to us at the synagogue, how it looks like now. He was reconstructed, and it became much beautiful than it was before. The social composition of women of Jewish faith who participated in political movements was heterogeneous and included both women from the privileged classes and immigrants from the proletariat. Female party membership was expressed in the political implementation of the political decisions made by men and the actual implementation of their instructions, which confirms the opinion about the expressed gender asymmetry inherent in Russian society in the second half of the 19th and early 20th century. Thank you very much for your attention.